What is up, YouTube? I'm here to do the latest chapter of Naruto review. Lots to be said here, lots and lots to be said. I will try very hard to keep it under 20 minutes. I'm going to set the clock right now, 8:35. Got it. Okay, so lots to be said about Naruto. And the thing is, a lot of the other reviewers on Naruto, on YouTube at least, do like these 5-minute sort of reviews, and then they're like, okay, it was good plot, boom boom boom, and then they're out in 5 minutes. This week's chapter for sure cannot be just stated in 5 minutes, and you know how I tend to be. I tend to go on for like 30 minutes per video, so I will try and keep it under 20 minutes. And so let's just get started to keep this time frame accurate. I'd rather not do chapter summaries because I'm assuming you've read the chapter. So we're doing chapter 639 titled Attack. However, I'm going to do brief summaries because of just to emphasize the awesomeness of the chapter, to elaborate on a lot of key details that would otherwise have gone unnoticed, and to reveal how amazing this chapter is and how detailed it is, because to an average reader, they might just skim through it, think it was just an average chapter or a mediocre chapter. And I'm not saying it's an awesome chapter, but it's definitely got some meat in it. So, very first page, we see the first and second Hokage being ripped apart by Obita, the very first attack. And I'm thinking, if you saw my last week's video on the last chapter, I thought possibly they were gone. They were gone for good. Because if you've seen Edo Tensei at work before, I think that's what it's called, Edo Tensei. If you've seen that at work before, once you destroy their bodies, or you've cornered them down and defeated them in battle, you pretty much defeat them. Well, actually, that's not true. You do have to do like a sealing technique. But however, I thought possibly that Obito just wrecked them. Like, they were gone. Like, they were out of the fight. And their Edo Tensei was revoked. And if you saw my last week's episode, I was talking about how I really hope that they are not. I really hope that they're stronger than that. I really don't think it'd be a good ending to Hashirama and the second Hokage if they just left the whole plot right there and then. Fortunately, we do see that this is the case. They managed to survive this, and then he's like, the second Hokage's like, fourth, jump, and then he's like, okay, I gotta do it, I gotta jump, and then boom, you see this huge sort of like sealing technique. They were fast, okay? They're not as slow as you would expect, because last chapter Hashirama was like, even with all of us combined, I think this guy is stronger than us. And that's saying something, because Hashirama has been noted and referred to as like the apparent god of ninjas. And I mean, only a few other people are even comparable to that title, the Sage of the Six Paths being one of them. So for him to immediately recognize this guy's power and admit that he's stronger is saying quite a deal. So I'm thinking, okay, they're screwed over. They probably don't even have time to react. But we see in this panel that this is not the case. We see, I'm going to keep calling him Obito, even though this guy is not Obito anymore, because he's become a monster. But Obito has all these like seal tags on him and all around him. And at first I thought the black spikes through his hands were part of Hashirama's technique, but later we find out that's not true. The next key thing to note is that his outfit has completely changed from before. So apparently he's lost all his old clothing after transformation, and apparently becoming the Jinchuriki of the Biju, you get entitled to a special wardrobe of clothes that just comes with the package. It's like a buy this package, get this little trinket for free kind of thing. He gets this new sort of clothing outfit, which is mainly just like some sort of baggy, almost like hammer jeans. Obviously they're not like actual hammer jeans, but It's sort of like a Japanese style baggy, sort of black, tattered sort of pants. And so I don't think that was what he was wearing before in terms of pants. And I think it just transformed into that. That was kind of strange for me. I didn't understand it. If anyone wants to leave a comment below in the discussion for this video and discuss that or give me an answer to that, that'd be great. But here he is wearing these tattered baggy pants and no shirt. Who knows what happened? And so we see like this wardrobe play out throughout. But let's put that aside. And what we see here is we see the fourth Hokage, or excuse me, the third Hokage jumping up, and all of a sudden you see this huge, like, you see coming out of one of their bodies. It's not clear if it's Hashirama or the second Hokage. Sorry, I keep calling him second Hokage because I forgot his name. But all these trees come out, and that, I guess, I'm assuming that's Hashirama, but I mean, they're brothers, so they can probably, you know, Hashirama could have done it for his brother. But you see all these trees coming out of him because both of them have been chopped in half, so there's only like half of them remaining, and the other half's obliterated, so it's pretty much like half a human. And then like from that empty half, all these tree branches grow out, and they wrap around Obito. And first off, that's pretty darn cool. I have to give out props. Just because of that scene, I'm gonna up the rating, the final rating on this this chapter. But moving on, we see Obito wrapped up, and apparently the seals went off. They did something with the seals, and apparently this is another key point that you might not notice, but that was intended as a killing technique. And he remarks, wow, that was not enough to kill him as expected. Regardless, obviously it wouldn't have killed him there, but wow, they went ham from the get-go. This guy was trying really hard from the get-go, and you can see that because him and Hashirama are using killing techniques as of now. That would have finished off any other shinobi. And so here's the thing, they walk around for like another few pages, like obliterated, like half of their body is literally gone. Like there are panels where like you literally see like half of their body still blown away and they're still walking around. So I'm thinking, what's going on? And then I realized, okay, yeah, Ito Tensei is not, it doesn't mean they're gonna die. And so that's really cool. And I just realized again, after reading the dialogue, the second Hokage says, I created Ito Tensei, blah 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 blah, the tactics that go along with it as well. And so it makes sense. And because of this, because he created Ito Tensei, he in fact can manipulate it, and because despite him not being the one who resurrected him himself, now that he's alive again, technically, he has infinite control like Madara did a few chapters ago. And basically Madara was like, he pretty much escaped from the control of Ito Tensei and sort of used the forbidden jutsu and manipulated it so that he is in fact quote-unquote immortal, say, as long as no one like literally like wipes out his existence with force. He's literally immortal because he now has controlled the Ito Tensei, and even if it is released, he will still be alive, which is what Madara is right now. Ito Tensei was released, and so it would make sense that the creator of Ito Tensei can do the same thing. And we know for a fact long ago that Hashirama himself had released himself from Ito Tensei, so he has full control himself, because Orochimaru noticed it, and there was a panel showing that. So it's really cool, and I'm happy that they didn't just get eliminated from the plot right there. There was a little bit of me that was thinking there's the possibility that Obito just destroyed them right there and then, and that was it. But that's not the case, so that was pretty cool. Moving on from there, we see him doing another badass technique. This chapter is filled with new techniques, new ninjutsu, lots of tactics, very, very well done. So it's called Gojoku Baku Fuda, Intersecting Exploding Talismans. And it's basically like an infinite series of talismans where they will keep summoning more talismans that will explode. And I thought that because of how it works, it would just infinitely keep summoning more talismans and then infinitely exploding. But for some reason, after he throws out all these like paper seals and does this technique, we do get this huge explosion, and it goes out like well, not infinitely, but it's a very large explosion, larger than the toad that Naruto is sitting on. After that explosion, it just stopped. So another thing that you guys can comment about, how exactly is this infinite if it just stops? It's not actually an infinite series of summoning talismans, it's just, it summons for a while, and then it stops after the 1000th one, and then all of them explode. At least that's what I've seen. And so, we move on to the next page, okay? I have the whole computer on my left side. Let me just check the stopwatch to make sure I'm still good. So basically we find that this technique, this second killing technique, had literally no effect on Obito. He's like still standing. He's like, he literally has this pose where it's like, that didn't even affect me, that didn't even hurt me, I didn't even feel it. And we're like, at least I'm like, wow, this guy is completely overpowered. And then we have the freaking third Hokage here with his killing technique. He does a Kage Bushin shuriken, throwing out millions of these giant shurikens. Obviously we know this is going to have no effect either. And we see that again when he uses like this black, it's very weird. He uses like a black orb, and it cuts through his hand, and then it goes through, and then he can just manipulate this orb to become anything he wants. So it cuts through his hand, and then he turns it into a shield on the other side, and then he just holds it like that, and all the shurikens that hit it just like they get cut in half because this black material is that much harder. And so the third related to the Onoki, who is the Sand Kage's sort of dust technique. And the difference is that the shape is so dynamic that it can be used for offense and defense. Very, very cool. Kind of strange that he has to cut it through his hand, but I think what the reason is because these black orbs always hover above his hand, and therefore to manipulate it to some sort of thing on the other side, on the palm of his hand, he has to cut it through. And because he's so overpowered, that cut through is not going to hurt him at all. And so here I see the third Hokage just get blown apart, like his whole upper half of his body is just blown apart to dust from Obito's attack. And I'm like, does this mean he's dead? And excuse me, not third Hokage, fourth Hokage, Sarutobi. And so again, that's another thing to note. He gets blown apart, and I'm like, okay, that's it for him. I mean, he's screwed again. And then I remember, okay, I mean, this is Ito Tensei we're talking about here. He's gonna just keep reviving when that happens. So that's overpowered. So they still have a good chance of winning. These Hokages can just keep reviving despite being owned so many times. And Hashirama and the second Hokage, knowing the power of Ito Tensei and being the ones who created it, can keep these Hokages alive. Technically, infinitely. But we don't know. Maybe once Obito gets really mad, he'll just somehow wipe them all out. Who knows? Probably not though. And so, you know, Naruto's freaking out like a little bit of a kind of stupid kid. And Sasuke's like, calm down, we gotta keep it scientific here, we gotta keep it analytical here. They got Ito Tensei, they're not gonna die. We should be analyzing right now, not worrying about them. And I'm like, good job Sasuke, Naruto, come on. Why are you constantly putting up this sort of dumb kid mind frame? But again, that's just him as a character, so there's not much you can do about that. That's just how Naruto is. And so again, very, very interesting. And I actually wrote down two things I do have to talk about. Kind of off track, but first and foremost, I will be doing another video, a separate video, on why I'm pretty sure Naruto is coming to an end soon. I was gonna do like a little bit of a summary on that, but there's not. I really want to do a full video on that on its own. So if you're subscribed to this channel, you'll see it. Otherwise, go ahead and subscribe. It's free. You just have to click the subscribe button, and I will do another video on that. There's clear evidence that Naruto, the manga, is coming to an end. Second, we have Sasuke and Madara. I never really understood why Madara had no interest in Sasuke. Like, as far as I can see from the Naruto universe, and feel free to correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but Sasuke is the only one who has obtained the eternal, keyword eternal, Mange Q, Sharingan. We have seen plenty of people awaken the Mange Q Sharingan, and those include Itachi and Madara's brother, and obviously that was very tough. They had to kill like their best friend to do it. But as far as eternal Mange Q, and by doing so, just to refresh, you have to obtain the Mange Q yourself. Then you have to kill someone with the Mange Q, and then take their eyes and implant them for your own, so that your eyesight doesn't deteriorate. And the only people in the universe who have done that is Madara, as far as we know. A lot of people have obtained the Mange Q, but not the Eternal. And we know that the Eternal grants additional abilities on top of that. So, I honestly don't understand why Madara is not interested in Sasuke. We do know he's definitely aware of Sasuke's existence, because we saw the scene where Sasuke, it turned out there's like 4 freaking Zetsus implanted into Sasuke. And so we do know that Obito is keeping tabs on Sasuke, so that in turn means Madara should know about Sasuke. And on top of that, why hasn't Obito had deteriorating eyesight, despite being older than Sasuke? Maybe it's because he never really had to full out use his Sharingan constantly. I don't know, please discuss. But we do know Sasuke had to use it a lot more than Obito, and maybe that is why Sasuke's eyesight has been deteriorating rapidly compared to Obito. So maybe Obito already has Mange Q. I don't think so. Who would have he got it implanted by? No one. There's no other Uchihas around. Third point. I really think that Obito is like Luffy in this sort of series, or at least this chapter, because what happens next is kind of strange. Basically, being a brand new Jinchuriki, he can't control the Jubi to his fullest, so he gets really, really fat. If anyone wants to explain this, go ahead in the comments, but I feel like it's just because like he gets bloated by the chakra of the Biju, because he doesn't control it well, so it bloats his body and he becomes really, really fat. And so why I'm calling him like Luffy is because he starts stretching the upper half of his body and his neck, and then he starts stretching his legs too, like Luffy in One Piece. He gets really, really rubbery, and he just stretches like infinitely. And so he goes into the ground and pretty much just starts burrowing in the ground and destroying the entire like ground. And this pretty much capsizes the giant frog. I forgot his name, but let me look up his name real quick. Whatever, forget it. But it capsizes the giant frog, and yeah, he's pretty much like Luffy at that point. Like, and that's something we really haven't really seen other than Orochimaru with his neck. But yeah, it's one of the first times we see like one of the ninjas in Naruto being very stretchy, like a rubber man in One Piece. Anyhow, moving on to more important points. So Naruto and his dad go at Obito, and his dad does this thing called Rasen Senku Shorin Buko Sanshiki, and it's the first time he's used it in a while. It is translated, it is Spiral Flash Ring Dance How technique. And I'm thinking this has to be OP. I mean, first off, his kunai are OP as F already. Like, they're a special kunai for his dad. They have like the spike curved sides on the side, and then like the pointy one in the middle, and then they have seals on the handle. It's really crazy. So he has 3 in each hand, and he goes at it, and then they just get outsmarted immediately by Obito. Despite Obito falling to the ground because he had become so fat because he can't control the Biju yet, as the Jinchuriki, he just starts growing out. Like, the torso part of him just starts shooting out like a worm, and he just burrows on the ground, and then he pretty much shocks them, and they both get like unearthed. Basically, the ground underneath them just gets unearthed, and they fall into it, and they stumble and stuff, and it's pretty crazy. And I know I'm doing like a chapter summary, but if you've watched my other videos, I usually don't do this. The reason I am is because this is just so OP. I have to go play by play here. So yeah, they get screwed over, and then Obito goes at it with his freaking black sphere again. He shoots it out just like a freaking rod, and it extends all the way, and it almost kills Naruto right there. If it weren't for Sasuke blocking it with his Susanoo hand. And that again shows how overpowered just Obito is right now. And literally, Naruto would have died right there if it weren't for Sasuke protecting him. So again, it's showing how weak Naruto still is. Despite his growth and power level, there's so many people still stronger than him. And so we get like this little bit of like a flashback where it's like, has Sasuke remembered his past, and he's you know, becoming a good guy again. And then that pretty much gets torn aside. You see like this flashback, and then like the picture of the past being cut in half, and basically a zoom in, and you see Naruto, the face, like a picture of childhood Naruto being cut in half, and then Sasuke says, "This wasn't for you." Actually, let me get the right quote. "It's not you. The one that will cut away the past is me." And then you see a very small panel where there's like sweat, like uneasy sweat dripping down Naruto's face, and you see this very uneasy like face that Naruto has. So this is a lot of hinting at the fact that once this arc is over, Sasuke is still not revealed his true intentions. He might still choose another sort of corrupt path. Or maybe he has some plan on stealing the Biju from Obito after it's all said and done. Maybe his plan is to take out Obito and Madara, steal their powers, and then do the same thing. That way there will be no one in his way. We don't know. Like, there's still a lot of shady stuff involving him. Anyhow, okay, so I've kind of gone over with my rambling. So I have to keep this very, very short, but I'm almost done anyways, so I'm going to end it right now. So in this final scene, we see Sasuke staring at Obito with his new and improved Eternal Mange-Q Sharingan. And obviously, with this new Mange-Q, he has a new symbol. It's almost like a freaking some sort of galaxy at this point. Like, it's literally like so freaking detailed, the symbol on his eyes. And then we see Obito with his freaking I forgot what it was called, but he has his own eyes, and he shoots out his eyes at Sasuke and Naruto. And from the way this panel is drawn, you can check it out yourself, page 21. From the way this panel is drawn, you can see that Obito is shooting out his eyes offensively, and Naruto and Sasuke are being attacked defensively. Sasuke has not used his eyes yet. He didn't have time. From the way the panel is drawn, it's very, very clear that Obito is attacking offensively with his eyes. You see, like, his eyes just shooting out at them. And, okay, wait, I just got to look up what his eyes are called real quick because I kind of forgot. Naruto eyes. I really need to know this. This is very, very stupid. I don't know what this is called. Rinnegan. Okay, Rinnegan. So Obito shoots out his Rinnegan, and then you see like Obito coming at them, and he has both his hands on their faces now. That's how fast he is. And that is the final panel. And basically, what I'm thinking is this is a genjutsu. It's an illusion. He attacked with his eyes first, and therefore he's shooting out a genjutsu. At the same time, it could be that he's just super fast and he got there very quickly. However, I really think it'd be really much cooler if it was genjutsu, because then we'd have a fight of Rinnegan versus Eternal Manchu Sharingan to see which eye technique is actually better. Most likely Rinnegan is a little bit better. I mean, this is the Sage's eye technique. But then again, maybe, I mean, at least in real life, we have this idea of evolution where as the younger generation gets more advanced, they come up with better technology and better stuff. But this author of Naruto does not have that concept, as we've seen for the last 600 chapters. I mean, that's been proven time and time again. Why? Because it's shown that the Sage of Six Paths is the most strongest, and then each of his descendants, each generation, pretty much gets weaker and weaker. So, I mean, compared to the Sage of Six Paths, Naruto's generation is super, super weak. So we kind of have that regressive evolution going on. So that pretty much kind of supports the fact that the Rinnegan is stronger than the Eternal Manchu Sharingan that Sasuke has. But we don't know, and I really want to see a genjutsu showdown. And the final panel, we see Naruto's dad Minato say, "Come on, make it in time. Flying Thunder God technique." And then you see him like wincing. So I'm assuming what's happening is Minato has come to protect them. Either that or he's gone to do something else. Most likely he's gone to protect Sasuke and Naruto. Anyhow, a lot to talk about, a lot still to elaborate on in this chapter, but this video has already gone on for 20 minutes and we have other manga to review. And I don't know, leave your comments below on if you like this freaking elaborate video, or if you rather me stay at like 10 to 15 minutes. I mean, this is technically a short video, so compare this to my 40 to 30 minute videos. This is technically one of the shorter versions. So which one do you prefer? I tend to like rambling on and just getting everything out, but when looking at other reviewers, they tend to keep it under 5 minutes. So I mean, what are your thoughts on that? I personally think I should just do whatever I want and not care what other people think. So I think I'll just ramble as much as I want. The main reason why I kept it short, other than to try something new, was because my video camera has a very short battery life now. And so that's it for this video. If you like, hit the like button. If you want to subscribe, go ahead. It's completely free. Just click the subscribe button below this video. You don't even need a YouTube account. You just need a Google account. So if you have a Google account, you can still subscribe. And so that is it. I know there's one other huge point I wanted to address, but I can't remember it. I don't know what it is, but there's this one other huge point that I can't address. Okay, there is this one other thing. I don't know if this is it, but where are the other Kages? Where are the other 5 Kages right now? I mean, they've been traveling to get here for the last like 5 to 10 chapters. Where are they? They have yet to show. I think it's mainly because there's so many characters going on that they've kind of forgotten to reintroduce the Kages, but it seems like they are healed up and they are ready to return to the fray. Personally, I don't really care if they return or not because they are super weak. I mean, they lost 5v1 to Madara, despite being a later generation than Madara. That just shows how freaking talent and power beats advanced technology and further later younger generations. But yeah, I personally don't want them back, but it still makes it doesn't make a lot of sense that it's been like at least 5 chapters, and the 5 Kages that were owned by Madara are still traveling to their location. I mean, it's taking a little bit long despite them being the Kages and super fast. I don't know. I mean, if you look at the Hokages, they were like there in like an instant. So who knows what's up with that. Anyhow, like, comment, rate, share this video. I don't have many subs, so it'd be great if you could share it on Facebook. Anything. Peace, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you later in the next video. Peace.